Hi, I'm Emily from the Pencil Room Online, and in this video I'm going to talk about drawing in one-point perspective. And I think this will probably end up being a series of videos because I really want to talk about how to use one-point perspective when you are drawing from a subject or from observation, rather than just drawing boxes from imagination. We will start off drawing boxes from imagination, but in a follow-up video I'll take you through sketching a scene and how you can actually make use of the knowledge of one-point perspective when you're drawing. If you've never done any perspective drawing before, it can be a little bit technical, but I think it's important to have a good understanding of what is actually going on. So we'll whiz through the technical stuff first. Hopefully it will make sense, and after that you can do a practical exercise with me, which should bring a little bit more clarity if you're still unsure about what one-point perspective is. So what is one-point perspective? Why do we use it? One-point perspective, two-point perspective, and three-point perspective are all just systems that we can use to visually translate three-dimensional space onto our two-dimensional drawing surface. So our piece of paper or our picture plane has two dimensions. It's got width and it's got height. But to draw realistically, we need to show three dimensions in our drawing. We need to show width, height, and depth. And one-point perspective is a way of drawing the height, width, and depth planes of an object. It's particularly useful for drawing cuboid shapes with parallel lines, like a cube or a building. Now, a common example for demonstrating how one-point perspective works is train tracks. As the tracks move away from where we are standing, the gap between the two tracks becomes smaller and smaller until it vanishes, and the two tracks meet at one point in the distance. The reason this happens is just because of the way human vision works. The further away something is from us, the less space it's taking up in our field of vision, and so the smaller it appears. Don't worry if you get a little bit lost, because we're going to draw a diagram of one-point perspective in a moment, which will help it make a lot more sense. So how do you use one-point perspective? There are three rules to follow when you use the one-point perspective system. Grab a pencil and paper and we'll go over what those three rules are. So if we go back to the example of the train tracks, you can see the two lines of the tracks converge or vanish at a point on the horizon line. And that's important because the first two rules for one-point perspective are that our drawing needs to have a horizon line, and it also needs to have one vanishing point. Now, it's important to note that the horizon line doesn't always mean the actual horizon line between the land and the sky, and in my experience a more accurate name is probably eye level. Take a look at this box. It's got width, it's got height, and it's got depth. Notice that when it's at eye level you can only see the width and the height. If you didn't know it was a box, you'd describe it as a flat square or a rectangle. If we draw this cube in the center of our line of sight and in the middle of our eye level, it's going to look like this. I'm using a 3 centimeter square to represent the box. You can't see any of the sides of the box, the top or the bottom of the box, just the front surface. The height is shown with two parallel vertical lines and the width is shown with two parallel horizontal lines. When the box moves below our eye level, you can see the same flat rectangle of the box, but you can also see the top of the box. Now, if you lightly draft in a vertical line down from the first box on either side, we can keep the same 3 centimeter dimensions for the second box. Draw the same 3 centimeter square shape to represent the front of the box. The height and the width are always going to be vertical and horizontal. And then this is where we use those train tracks as guidelines to show how the sides of the box are receding away from us into the distance. So we're going to extend two guidelines, also called converging lines, from the vanishing point to the top front corners of our square. Now choose where the back edge of the box will be. If it's a cube, it won't be very far back because of foreshortening, but you could be drawing a longer cuboid shape, so it doesn't matter too much. The back edge, which is a width, will be horizontal. Go over the edges of the box to darken them up when you're happy that they're in the correct place. Remember, the first rule is that you need a horizon line or an eye level. The second rule is you need a vanishing point. Here's the third rule. One of the dimensions, the depth dimension, will recede back to the vanishing point, and the height and the width dimensions will always stay the same. Height will always be vertical, width will always be horizontal, never on an angle. If you want to draw a see-through box or a glass box, we can draw the back of the box. First, draw guidelines from the vanishing point to the front bottom corners of the box. Now, this is a step where some people can get confused, and it's a matter of starting with what you know. We know that the back of the box, like the front of the box, will have vertical height edges, because that is one of the rules of one-point perspective. Height is vertical. Draw the vertical edges down from the two top back corners. Where they intersect with the converging lines is where you will draw the bottom back edge of the box, and that's going to be horizontal because it's a width. Take a good look at your drawing now and really try to get your head around which is the width dimension, which is the height dimension, and which is the depth dimension. You could even label them if you want to, with height, width, and depth. Now try the same exercise, but raise the box above the eye level so that you draw the bottom of the box receding back to the vanishing point. Now try moving it over to the right so you can also see the left side of the box. The sides of the box are depth planes, like the top and the bottom of the box, so they will also recede along train tracks that lead to the vanishing point. If you decide you want a solid box, just erase any of the lines inside the box so you can only see the front and the side of the box. Now move it to the left so that you can see the right side. You can keep the same size box, or you can try different sizes just by starting out with that first front plane of the box and making it a square or a long rectangle or a high rectangle. Experiment with drawing boxes above and below the eye level, and to the right or to the left, and try changing the width and the height of each box. If it's below eye level and to the left, we can see both the top and the right sides of the box. Keep practicing so you can really solidify this one-point perspective idea in your head. In all these variations, the front of the box, the height and the width dimensions stay exactly the same. The height is always vertical, the width is always horizontal. Only one dimension, that's the depth dimension, recedes towards the vanishing point. One dimension, 1 point perspective.